like to think that because atheists lack a belief in God, they're left without answers to certain questions about the metaphysical aspect of the universe.
I wonder what Christians you're talking to, because you always say things that just plain aren't true, at least Christians who read the Bible and understand God's point of view.
Good old Dinks can always be relied upon to say the stupidest shit ever immediately. This time, of course, by jumping right to, I don't do that, therefore no one do that. Which is, of course, no true Scotsman nonsense. Because, you see, while it's important to use qualifying words like some or even most to make sure that the ones who don't do whatever thing that you're saying aren't being lumped in, Dinks has dodged right past that and into the worst response he could have given by claiming that essentially no Christians do that, as if this person got that idea from nowhere instead of the countless theists who absolutely do that. Christ, you are so bad at this, Dinks. It's gonna be fun.
Now, we don't say that you don't have answers. We know what your answer is. You deny the existence of anything metaphysical.
Well, folks, can you believe it? Dinks the puppet being wrong again. You know, if I didn't know any better, I would think he was sent from the future with all of the worst arguments in order to annoy me specifically, like some sort of pink, fluffy, ineffectual Terminator. Atheism and atheists by extension have one answer to one question. Does a deity do the real? Everything else is up for grabs. There are atheists who believe in ghosts. There are atheists who believe in magic. There are atheists who believe in actual fucking heavens and eternal afterlives. All of these things exist in the realm of metaphysics and or the supernatural, you utter moron. Could you please just try to be correct for once in your ridiculous life? You might actually enjoy it.
And I think Christians are in the exact same boat.
Well, if you mean that we both have answers, sure. We say it exists and you don't.
Well, aside from the fact that, again, many atheists do say that, let's just say that we don't. Well, then the main problem would be one of evidence. We are saying a thing that no one can prove, that doesn't leave evidence, and that for all intents and purposes appears to not exist is fake, and you, with that same dearth of proof and evidence and everything else, say that it does. So you sound like an idiot. Shocking.
But as far as having a reason for it, no. We're not in the same boat at all.
Well, I will give him one thing. A terrible, terrible, terrible fucking reason to believe something is, in fact, still a reason. It's just, you know, not a very good reason to believe it, because it's fucking stupid. But sure, we are not in the same boat. Your boat is full of holes and diarrhea. Ours is a super yacht powered by whiskey. I think I know which one I'd rather be in.
This is part 1 of questions Christians cannot answer.
So if Christians actually answer your video, that means you can't do a part 2. Even if you don't like our answer, that means we still disproved you because we answered it.
Oh, god damn it. Am I gonna have to agree with Dinks? Why non-existo? Why? But he's right. Calling something a question X group can't answer is an incredibly fucking silly thing to do, because the bar for an answer will be so incredibly low. I don't know is an answer. It's probably not the kind of answer that you're looking for, but that's why you have to, qualify things. You could say that there's no good answer, or that there's no scientific answer, or, smart answer, and then you at least have some criteria. But just can't answer? No, don't do that. Both atheists and Christians should stop doing that ever, even if it does mean that I would no longer get to make hilarious videos where I answer those questions very easily and make them look like fucking morons. But I'm pretty sure that won't stop them.
First up, who created God?
No one, but you know that.
Does she now? Huh. Apologists always with the mind reading. Also, what makes you think that she doesn't know exactly who created God? Because I do. And no, it's not some upper level super god, because that's just turtle logic all the way down. It's much simpler. Humans created God. At least your one from your book though, because of course they did. If God was real, every description of him wouldn't be so utterly and completely incoherent.
Christians say everything needs a creator.
No, all creation needs a creator. The creator himself always existed.
Listen. I'm always right because the things I believe have extra rules that say that I am always right. And that's just how it is. And is certainly not intellectual laziness of the highest order that allows me to just say nuh-uh to everything that argues against my worldview. No!
Except when it comes to God. They'll say that God is the first uncaused cause.
No, we don't say he's the first, we just call him the uncaused cause. Saying that he's first implies a timeline onto God himself. There was no beginning with him. He just always was. He's outside time.
Oh, for fuck's sake, you know she's just like misspeaking, or at least saying it in a slightly redundant way. The fact that you took it completely seriously and felt the need to address it like it's a relevant point for what she's trying to say is completely wild. And look, I'm not saying that you can't point it out. Again, it's absolutely redundant, and you could even make fun of someone for it. But to act like that's the bit that matters is so fucking stupid that, of course, you did exactly that.
That's the point that Peter makes in this passage, and that's the point that God makes by calling himself I am. He is the God who just simply is.
So God is what you say he is because a book says it is, and also because the same book also said it again. Not gonna lie, but that seems a little bit circular as fuck. Dude, is there going to be a response to any of her questions that doesn't rely on massive logical fallacies, or what? No, of course not. Dinks would not exist without the logical fallacy of the unbrained brainer.
But that's just special pleading.
No, it's not.
What? Yes, it absolutely fucking is. It is the goddamned definition of special pleading. Your thing gets a set of rules that exempts it from the same rules that everyone and everything else has to follow. Even if you think that's okay for your thing to have that get out of logic free card, it is still special pleading, you fucking numpty. I told you, if it isn't fallacious, all he has is nuh-uh. Seriously, I swear to 𝔻𝕦𝕡𝕡𝕡𝕡𝕡𝕡, this guy is like my frickin' nemesis. I'm supposed to be the dumbest person on the internet. Thank you very much.
How come the biblical God gets to be the first uncaused cause?
Again, not first, the only, but because he said he was. That's why he gets to be.
Oh, cool. So I can say that I am the most attractive YouTuber with all the subscribers on the planet, hint, hint, and in possession of a barrel of limitless whiskey. And because I said that, it's true. Because I said that. Or do I have to write it in a book first? Oh, I get it now. It has to be a book full of absolute gibbering nonsense. And then by the power of infinite bullshit and know you opposite day, then that's all facts about reality, baby. Awesome.
What evidence do we have to support that?
I have God's word, which has proven itself true so much in my life that the parts where I don't have any direct evidence, I can take on faith. He's proven himself trustworthy.
So you have absolutely no evidence. God's say-so is, again, just circular. And it's not even really God's word. It's what someone or someone's say is God's word, which is just not the same thing. Unless you want me to start telling people that Dinks the Puppet is handing out free rusty trombones. Do not look that up. It is very rude to anyone who asks him nice enough, and you have to believe it because someone said it. And then we just have your argument from personal anecdote without even giving us the fucking anecdote. I mean, shit, if you're going to make bad arguments, at least give me the meat of it. But of course, I think he knows that if he told us all the times God totally did a thing for him, people are more than likely going to point out how there are about 80 bajillion better explanations other than God did done that. And then he will have to do a big sad. And you don't want Dinks crying, he's not fucking waterproof. Nothing worse than a sodden puppet.
Why can't the universe itself be the first uncaused cause?
Because it violates all of the laws of the universe itself.
Would you just look at that? Mate doesn't understand the difference between the rules within the universe and the rules for the universe itself. These are not the same thing. You are confusing the contents of a Tupperware box for the box itself. The food within has an extremely limited shelf life that, while extended by being inside of it, will eventually and rather quickly turn all to mush. But the box itself is, for all practical purposes, comparatively limitless in its ability to exist. Its potential lifespan being many magnitudes longer than anything that you would ever store within it. Same applies to whatever it is that constitutes the universe's outside, for want of a better word. We don't know what rules it has to or doesn't have to follow, but it would be pretty fucking surprising if they weren't at least a little bit different from what's inside.
You cannot have nothing explode into everything without a source acting on it. That's literally the laws of physics.
I seriously doubt that you would know what the laws of physics were if they walked right up to you and kicked you in your stupid pink face. For starters, you're attempting to describe the Big Bang as an explosion out of nothing. That is two things that the Big Bang categorically is not. It is not an explosion, it is an expansion. And no, saying, well, that sounds like an explosion to me, is just you being a fuckwit. Not a worthwhile response to that. And from nothing, not only does the Big Bang not make claims to what happened before it happened, but all the science that actually attempts to do so doesn't tend to call it nothing, but instead an infinitely dense point of energy, which, if we get our dictionaries out, isn't fucking nothing.
Because something that needed to be intelligent enough to create, theoretically, the entire universe must have also had a creator.
And what's your evidence that it had to? See, you're just saying that it does because it makes sense in your mind, but you don't have any mathematical or metaphysical or philosophical reasons to say why it has to have a beginning.
The projection on display here is wild. Although, again, to be completely fair, he does have reasons. They are just really, really bad, to the point where it would be better if he just didn't. But also, that is absolutely false. There are plenty of reasons to believe that the universe is, or is at least part of a system that has always existed. First off, just because a thing began to exist doesn't mean that there wasn't things before it. You know, just like in the reals. Not to mention the fact that not only do we deal with infinite, startless, and endless numbers on the regs within mathematics, but that there are actual models for steady state and cyclical cosmologies. Things that would have been come up with not for no fucking reason. Of course, the reason you say there aren't is not because you disagree with those positions. No, if I were to bet, it would be because you never bother to even check they exist. It seems to me that if you think it is automatically correct in your tiny, 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 worthless little excuse for a mind.
No, it doesn't. Just because you can't comprehend it doesn't mean it isn't true.
Irony. And just because you don't bother to attempt to seek actual refutations for your positions doesn't automatically make them true either, you ridiculous little jizzcloth. Fuck me.
300 years ago, we couldn't even comprehend traveling to another planet. Now we have whole genres about it.
Okay, fair point. Just like we have wizards and dragons and superpowered flying men who get their powers from the sun. Okay, to be fair, that last one, if you swap fly for napping and the sun as a roundabout way of saying whiskey, you know, me. But yeah, so what if we have genres about space travel? Even that doesn't make everything contained within them true. We have never met aliens, and probably never will, even if they do exist, because the Fermi paradox is a bitch. Faster than light travel is almost certainly impossible. So the chances that even getting out of our galaxy, let alone to another portion of the universe, is super fucking slim. And if we want to get really specific with like Star Trek stuff, humanity coming together to do anything other than blow themselves to bits? Yeah, fucking right. Also, they definitely thought about visiting the other planets, even when humans didn't know what space or stars or any of that shit actually was. Because like they always have, they will have wanted to go there, probably to fuck or eat whatever it was they found.
As a believer, you can't claim that this rule that everything needs a creator applies to everything and then exempt your favorite deity.
Yes, we can, because he's outside time, he's self-sufficient, and does not require a beginning, and he said so. If he is the one we're following, why wouldn't we take his word for it?
Well, you're missing the point that she's making. If everything needs a creator, suddenly stopping at one thing is very, very strange. But again, you're just saying, yup, this is absolutely special pleading. Do you not understand what special pleading is? Do you think it's some kind of food? Perhaps a style of carpet? So you sat there like, special pleading? God's not a piece of textile used to really bring the room together, or some kind of sandwich. It's the only way I can figure that you genuinely think this am not special pleading while doing special pleading at the same time and not collapsing into a heap from the overwhelming wrongness of it all.
Atheists say the exact same thing, but we make absolutely no exceptions.
Except at the Big Bang, right? You say there was nothing exploded into everything, and then just happened to be perfectly orchestrated to create not only life, but advanced, intelligent, sentient life on this one little planet.
You are just obsessed with being wrong about what the Big Bang Theory says, aren't you? And happen to be perfectly orchestrated. Perfectly is a strong fucking word there, buddy. Just because a system, or in this case, many systems, happen to produce life, doesn't mean that it's the perfect setting for life. Good enough will get you a long fucking way in this universe. There are a lot of ways that we could understand life as it could exist, including ones that look nothing like what we know of as life, but would still almost certainly recognize it as such regardless. But what really plucks my pubes, where the hell do you get off saying this planet has sentient life? Your existence alone brings down the collective intellect so far it makes it look like the planet somehow has negative intelligence. That's probably why aliens will never visit. Good job, shit for brains.
And potentially, in your mind, many others. There could be, other aliens out there somewhere.
That's not just in mine or anyone else's mind. That is an extremely likely probability supported by not only the existence of life on this planet and the existence of many planets with all the things needed to support carbon-based life forms, but also the fact that even within our universe, other forms of life can and will likely exist, such as silicon-based life forms. Only the arrogance of me am so special, God did me on purpose that one time can be achieved with the nugget brain of your average YouTube apologist.
So, no, you do have an exception. It is called the Big Bang. It violates everything we know about physics.
Well, it would violate everything you know about physics, because you don't fucking know anything about physics or the Big Bang, as evidenced by the fact that you have absolutely no fucking clue what the Big Bang is. It is not some guess. It isn't something some guy thought up one day and said, "Yup, that's gotta be it." It is a conclusion come to from evidence. It is, as far as we can tell, the thing that happened at the start of the universe, or at least as far back as we can figure. And not only that, but it even confirms a bunch of shit about physics as we understand it. Kind of the opposite of your thing, as it's not just some guys wrote a book about an impossible asshole and you believe it because you really want to.
We're comfortable in the realm of we don't know or we don't know yet.
What's funny is that you accuse us of just using God to fill in the gaps and say, well, God did it, but you do the same thing with that. Now, I applaud the honesty of saying we don't know or we don't know yet, but there's a lot of hubris, a lot of pride in saying that literally everything in the universe can one day be explained by science.
I hear no denial of the fact that you use God did it to explain literally everything you don't understand, which is a lot of things, and has been stated oh so very many times on this channel and others. It's all about scorekeeping, mate. Count everything that's ever been proven to have a naturalistic explanation, and then count everything that has been proven to be God did it. Then get back to me when you realize the score is essentially infinity to zero for science, you dumb prick. Not that I expect him to be able to count to zero, but still.
What if it's outside the universe, like God?
What if what is outside the universe? I know you think you've said something profound there, cocksock, but you really didn't. Just because outside the universe is currently beyond the reach of our science doesn't mean it's beyond the reach of exploration and or explanation at all. Humans may never know what is beyond the beyond, but that doesn't mean that you get to throw in some made up bullshit and call it good enough. God did it is the end of inquiry, not some enlightened stance of only the very smart people.
For some reason, Christians cling to this God of the Gaps fallacy.
I don't think you know what God of the Gaps is.
No, I'm done having this utter troglodyte tell anyone else that they don't know what anything is while doing that exact thing over and over again, but denying it is just way too much fucking irony for me to cope with at this point. It's like being told by a swimming pool that I'm the one who's too full of piss, shit flakes, and children's tears.